Alright, I'm here with an updated look at my Wii U collection. Once again, obviously due to certain circumstances, I'm not able to do pickup videos as much for obvious reasons. So I've been kind of laying back on collection videos. This is a collection I haven't updated in a while. And I think this is a good collection to start collecting for. I think this is a library that's a decent library. I know I listed last week's video, I ranked the Wii U as the worst Nintendo home console. And while I still stand by that, I still think it's a good library, even if I'm not impressed with the console itself. And I think there's a lot of worthwhile games to play on it. I know a lot of them have been ported or iterated on with the Switch, but I still think there's a lot of fun to be had with the Wii U. You can get a system for relatively cheap, maybe probably about $100. I've grabbed a few at garage sales for pretty cheap. I know I paid $100 for a bundle with a lot of games, and I paid, I think, $40 for a system at one point. And you just got to make sure you have all the cables, and the gamepad is the biggest thing. But I'd recommend checking it out. Games, if you go to GameStop or your used game store, are extremely cheap, very, very cheap to get, and I think you can build out a really great collection. But I will be mentioning if a game's on Switch, I'll mention that. Recommend it. Try checking it out there if you don't want to splurge on a Wii U, but you do have a Switch. But I'll go into my collection now and perhaps give some recommendations, maybe give some interesting concepts or interesting concepts. You can tell what this lockdown is doing to my mind. Maybe give some interesting facts, or maybe hopefully I can show you a game that you've never heard of or never seen you might be interested in. So first off here, Animal Crossing Amiibo Festival. No, this is not a very beloved Animal Crossing game by any means. I feel a lot of that is just due to the fact that everyone was expecting a HD console Animal Crossing game around the time this came out, and we get a board game. This might be a little unpopular. I kind of like this game. I think it's kind of fun. It's really simple. You can obviously tell it's aimed at very young children, but it had a lot of potential, and I think I would love it if they took this concept, but they turned it and made it play more like the Wii game Fortune Street. And they kind of had elements like that with the stock market and everything, but I think that would really work well with Animal Crossing. I think that would be like the ideal Animal Crossing spin-off. But I can understand why that's maybe not the most positively regarded game on the Wii U. Batman Arkham City Armored Edition. This is a port of this was a launch game, and I think the first game I actually got for the Wii U alongside Nintendo Land, and this is a port of the PS3 360 game with some added bonuses. I mean, it's a decent port. I know it has some frame rate problems, but I'm not huge on the Arkham games past Arkham Asylum. I think that Arkham Asylum's excellent, and I think that's just a really solid Metroidvania. But I feel like the open world kind of was a little bit dull. But I'm very excited to see what they can do next with the series. Now, I feel in the last since maybe about 2016, open worlds have really, maybe I guess since like probably Witcher-ish, open worlds have really come into their own. I feel like early generation, or early 2010s, PS3 360 generation, open worlds often felt like you were playing a GPS. Like you had this big open world, but mainly you were just going from point to point, place to place, and just kind of doing whatever, and there was not much to do. But I feel like stuff like Yakuza, especially, which I'm a huge fan of, has really kind of made me turn around on open world games. And they have more stuff in them that have more things to do other than just drive around from point to point. And I'm really excited to see. I know it's Warner Brothers Montreal who made Arkham Origins, which is kind of a black sheep of the series. A lot of people don't mention it when they mention the Arkham games, but I think it's just as good as the other Arkham games. Yeah, a bit of a black sheep, but Warner Brothers Montreal, who did this game, are moving on to the next, to do some sort of Batman game, it would appear. So, could be interesting to see where that goes. Sorry, I got a little rambly there. I'm not kind of just trying to figure out how to do this video the best way. We got here Bayonetta 2, which this is the launch edition that came with the Bayonetta 1 disc. Both really great action, Devil May Cry, character action type games. I'm a big Platinum Games fan, and Bayonetta's probably not my favorite of like the Platinum Game series. I prefer I like Vanquish a lot, which I just played recently. Metal Gear Rising was another great one, and their newer stuff too is great as well. But Bayonetta 1 and 2 still fantastic. Bayonetta 2 is probably one of the best Wii U games for sure. Highly recommended. Looking forward to Bayonetta 3, and of course, both of those games were ported to the Switch as well, I believe with better frame rate. So probably the optimal way to play them. But Captain Toad Treasure Tracker, this game was fun. I liked it a lot. It was a good time, good puzzle game. Once again on the Switch, and also the 3DS, which I haven't tried the 3DS port, but I feel like that game could work really well on the 3DS. Although it was no 3D on that game, I believe, and that would probably been like a good game to showcase 3D, and they had no 3D on it. So this is still sealed. Darksiders War Mastered. I got this for like $9 on Amazon. So Darksiders 2 actually was a launch game for the Wii U, or launch window. I believe it was a launch game, though. And then this came out after the Switch was out. It came out like April of 2017, after the Switch was out. And I just bought it cheap because it was such a late release Wii U game. And it was so cheap anyway. But kind of interesting. This is a real good one. Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze. This is a really great platformer. I liked the Wii one as well, Donkey Kong Country Returns. I think Retro Studios is one of Nintendo's most not popular. They are pretty popular now, and everyone's anticipating their next game, but one of their most talented studios, and I think that they've probably made, I'd say Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze is probably the best 2D Nintendo game since Super Mario World, so really great stuff. This is still sealed as well. I got this on Square Enix's store. They used to do this really great Black Friday sale that started getting worse and worse every year. I got this really cheap. It's still sealed. It ruins my Wii U collection because it's the only game with a black spine and everything else is white. I don't mean for that to sound racist, but you get the uniformity and then that kind of ruins it. Oh, I do have another game with a black spine. I guess we'll get to that. I got this one in a protector. It's still sealed. Devil's Third. This is a pretty infamous game. This is from the mind of Itagaki from Koei Tecmo originally, known well for Dead or Alive, probably the best known game he was known for. He made his own studio called Valhalla Games. That somehow this game was in the worst developmental crisis of all time, where it was originally supposed to be published by THQ. Sorry for the glare here. Originally supposed to be published by THQ. It ended up, THQ went bankrupt in its original form, and Nintendo, for whatever reason, picked this game up. I think because Nintendo of Japan, it's pretty well reported that Nintendo of Japan saw something in this game, and Nintendo of America hated this game. I think Nintendo of Japan wanted like a kind of an adult-oriented action game for the Wii U that had online, and I guess people really liked the online for this game. I remember seeing a bunch of people be like, when the online shut down, I remember on the Miiverse, people were like, "I'll miss you, my brothers in arms, all you comrades. Well, I hope we meet another time in another life." It was a wild time. But yeah, Nintendo published this. It almost did come out in North America. It came out only on Amazon in Japan, and it came out in Europe and got absolutely decimated. It sold horribly. The reviews were terrible, and it kind of was quietly pulled off of Nintendo's schedule, and then I think a bunch of people complained, and Nintendo's like, okay, we'll do it. And the original shipment of this game, they shipped out like 3,000 copies to the United States. And then they did another run on Amazon. Probably, I can't imagine there's more than 20,000 copies of this game. They did another run on Amazon, and that's where I got this. And it actually did the Amazon thing. I'm talking too long about it. I don't know what I'm doing. It did the Amazon thing where it keeps going down in price when no one's buying it. And so I got it for $40. And it's most expensive Wii U game, I believe, in general. I still have it sealed. That's one of my most expensive games in my collection. But I would not recommend that one. Maybe as a joke, because it's really bad. DuckTales Remastered. This one just got delisted and then relisted, so it had like a price surge. I never opened it up. I probably won't at this point. This was Way Forward, did a remaster of the original NES DuckTales game. I got it really cheap at Walmart, like $10 or something. And Capcom published it, yeah, and it was WayForward that did it. And heard good things about it, just haven't played it. This is a bad one. Game and Wario. This one's pretty bad. I feel like they could take this idea and do something really interesting, like a game, like a Wario. They could take this game and make it like a Jackbox game. I think I've talked about this on Twitter a little bit. There was some potential in this game. There was like a Pictionary ripoff game in it that I actually played quite a bit with my friends. It actually was pretty fun. The rest of the mini games were pretty terrible. But they could take like the character of Wario and like the concept of his weird world and everything, and they could make a really great Jackbox clone out of it. And I think this game feels like a half step between that and like a WarioWare game, and I feel like they could really make a great party game that you play with your phone. It has some weird Nintendo ideas. I'd love to see what Nintendo would do with that concept. But I would recommend that one. It's not very good otherwise. Hyrule Warriors, a Musou game with, you know, a Zelda skin. I've bought this game 3 times, and I'm really not... I think it's a good game. It's fun. I like the fan service. There's, you know, all the Zelda stuff coming together, but I'm not huge into Musous. I can never really get into them for a very long time. Kirby and the Rainbow Curse. I feel like this one would have been just better if it was a platformer. I wish like they took this really cool art style and just made it a 2D platformer rather than a, you know, kind of like the Canvas Curse game on DS where you use the stylus. Because I don't want to be looking at the, you know, 480p gamepad screen while this, you know, great 1080p display of Kirby's on my screen. And I don't really want to be drawing lines. This feels like, I think this was a $40 game. It feels like a mobile game kind of. So I'm not crazy about this one either. One of the few that have not been ported. I don't think probably should. Probably my biggest one I want ported that has not been ported is Wind Waker HD. This is an immaculate... Wind Waker is my favorite Zelda game, and this is an immaculate way to play it. This is the definitive way to play it. It looks fantastic. I mean, Wind Waker on itself, that game is not aged a day. You can still play that game, and it still looks fantastic. That game is still looks and plays perfectly. And this HD remake, I mean, it just amplifies that and makes it more accessible to play. It's awesome. And I really want this to be ported to the Switch. Because I haven't played through Wind Waker since HD came out in 2013, so it's been quite a while. I'd like to go back through it again. Twilight Princess HD. I'm not as big as a Twilight Princess fan, although this HD version kind of made me come back around on it. Because I originally played it on the Wii, and I hated the terrible motion controls. But... this is a pretty good HD version. It's not as like up-resed as Wind Waker HD. Wind Waker HD was an in-house project, and this was outsourced to a company called Tantalus, I believe their name is, and they did like Funky Barn, the Wii U classic. But they did a good job with this. It's more akin to like Metal Gear Solid HD Collection, how those are like up-resed PS2 games in widescreen. That's more along the lines of what this is. It's another one I have sealed that I intend to keep sealed, so it's in a plastic case. Breath of the Wild on Wii U. I just grabbed this. My goal for my collection is to have every Zelda game complete in box. That includes variants like this. I have the Switch version. I've played a ton of the Switch version. I think it's a fantastic game. Top three, I would say. Maybe top 5 Zelda game for sure. Depends on the day. Looking forward to the sequel. But I've heard the Wii U port's pretty good. It has some more frame rate issues. But I would recommend it on the Switch. I feel like it's more at home there, even though it was originally a Wii U game. Lego City Undercover. This is a fun one, especially if you have like kids. I would recommend it though. This Wii U version didn't have multiplayer. But they ported it to Switch and PS4 and everything, Xbox, with, you know, the co-op. And I think that probably is your best bet for playing this game. But this is... Nintendo actually originally published this game when it came to Wii U. It was a Wii U exclusive. And it's just an open world, you know, Lego game. I'd say probably better than most Lego games in a lot of ways. It almost has like a more Grand Theft Auto-y feel, except you're a police officer. Pretty solid sandbox game. Definitely would be a good game if you're trying to get your kids into video games. Lego The Hobbit. I like the Lego games. I feel like now, I liked them a lot as a kid, but now I just kind of play them for the Platinum Trophy. But I ended up with this one on the Wii U. I hated the Hobbit movies. They were absolutely atrocious. Just absolutely terrible. And this was just 2 of them. This didn't even include the 3rd one. And then they said they were going to do a DLC for the third movie, and then they just didn't. Which, thank God, because those movies are horrible. Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Winter Games. This one's still sealed. I got this at Toys R Us for $2.99, brand new, because they had it on sale for $12.99, and I had a $10 off coupon. I'm not huge into the Mario and Sonic games. I'm looking for the Rio 2016. That only got like one print run. It was right at the end of the Wii lifespan, so it's about a $50 to $60 game. It maintained its value. Kind of hard to get your hands on. So I've been looking for a good price on that one. Mario Kart 8. I think this is the best-selling Switch game, funnily enough, despite the fact that it is a port of a game from 2014. Mario Kart 8's a blast. I think Mario Kart 8 is fantastic. And while this one has the worst version of the battle mode that got fixed on the Switch version, this is still a great Mario Kart game. Definitely, you can't go wrong with Mario Kart 8 anywhere you play it. It's awesome. You can go wrong on Mario Party 10, though. This one is bad. I'm not crazy about the studio who did this, which is ND Cube at Nintendo. They did the Wii Party games, which I think are actually pretty decent party games, but they did Mario Party 9 and 10, which I would say are both dreadful. Both truly awful Mario Party games. And they also did Super Mario Party, which isn't bad, but not as good as the old ones. This is, Nintendo running out of steam. This is the peak of Nintendo running out of steam for the Wii U. Mario Tennis Ultra Smash is also pretty bad. It's Mario Tennis with one course. I believe there's only one stage, and it's this generic like Mushroom Kingdom stage you're seeing on the cover. And it had a gimmick where you could turn big. Not a very interesting gimmick. This was like late 2015, and the last year of the Wii U was really 2016, so you could tell that they were running out of steam fast with this one. Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate. I remember this being pretty cool back in the day, because this was also on 3DS, and you could do like a cross-save type thing, cross-progression with your save and everything, your character. I've never been able to get into Monster Hunter. I've said it a million times. I have friends who are diehard into I have two friends, and both of them are diehard into Monster Hunter, and every time I've tried to get into it, I can't do it. I just can't. I can't with it. I've put significant time into 3. I put significant time into Generations, and I put significant time into World. And World was the closest it was to getting me, and I just still couldn't do it. Mighty Number 9. Oof. NES Remix Pack. This one's still sealed. These were pretty cool. These were digital games, and then they ended up putting them in a pack on the Wii U for, I think, $20. These were really cool, though. It was just kind of a compilation of little challenges that you could do. It was NES games, and then they would have like a little twist to them, like I guess like it says on the cover. They'd have a little like extra challenge or like a little like thing for you to do, and it was pretty fun, pretty great idea. I'd like to see this return, like SNES Challenge or Game Boy Challenge. I'm surprised they've not done that, or like on the. I'm surprised they didn't do like an NES Challenge mode on the NES Classic system as well. New Super Mario Bros. U. This one's pretty good, all things considered, but I'm just not crazy about New Super Mario Bros. And I feel like most people feel the same way, because we have not seen an original New Super Mario Bros. Game since this. I know this game got ported to Switch, but I mean, this game's fine. It was a launch title, and as far as launch titles go, it's a pretty decent launch title, but I don't know. I hope that they bring back like the concept of 2D Mario to the Switch and make like a new Super Mario Brothers game, but they do something drastically different. Because I don't know, I think just the art style was so bland and generic that it just really put me off of the series. Plus, New Super Mario Bros. U came out like 2 months after New Super Mario Bros. 2 on 3DS, so it just kind of got a little overboard. It was like 2 years after Mario Bros. Wii as well. This is New Super Luigi U. This was like a pretty limited run, Year of Luigi. This physical version of the DLC for New Super Mario Bros. U. I got this for Best Buy. I got this at Best Buy, I think for $4.99, despite the price sticker that's still on there. Haven't played it yet, although I've heard it's pretty alright. I think, as far as I know, this version of Ninja Gaiden 3 is superior to the whatever version came out beforehand. It fixed a lot of problems, but I haven't heard too much about it. It was published by Nintendo, actually, which is part of the reason I bought it. Pack-in game. I think this game's really underrated. Nintendo Land. Really, really cool game. I really liked this one. This was a fun pack-in game. Had a lot of cool challenges. And not challenges, I guess more concepts with your Wii U gamepad and how you could use it. Really, really, really cool. I liked this one a lot. You can get it for dirt cheap too. I think it's probably 99 cents at GameStop. But that was a great pack-in game for the system as well. Paper Mario Color Splash. I'm in the camp that this one deserves to be thrown on the ground. Now, I don't like this game. I wouldn't say that this was like the last big, this was the last Wii U exclusive. I know Breath of the Wild came out after, but that was on Switch. But this was like the last big Wii U game. And this is, I mean, clearly not like a running out of steam level of Mario Tennis Ultra Smash or whatever that game's called. But this isn't good. It just is, it's funny and it looks nice, but the gameplay's horrible. Like, I hate the battle system with the cards, and then you have to tap the cards and flip them up. It's awful. But I wish they would just go back to the normal Paper Mario. You know, the writing in Color Splash was actually genuinely really funny, but it just felt like nothingness, like whole game. One of the best Wii U games, Pikmin 3. This game was in development forever, but it turned out great. One of the best looking Wii U games as well. Nintendo, Miyamoto said in 2015, Pikmin 4 is almost done. Where is it? Come on. But Pikmin 3 is great. Another one, if you want to get a Wii U, definitely get that one. It's not on the Switch. It's not ported to the Switch, and it's great. So check that one out for sure. Pokken Tournament. This one's, I'm not huge into fighting games, but this is pretty fun. This is a pretty cool concept. I know they did a deluxe version on the Switch, so there might not be a reason for a lot of people to come back to this, but I think you can get this for a reasonable price, and I would say it's worth it if you're interested in the idea of a fighting game like Tekken, but with Pokemon. I would recommend it, yeah. Splatoon? I really like Splatoon. It definitely has its shortcomings for me, and I feel like I was really frustrated with Splatoon 2 when that came out, because I feel like that game just had so many shortcomings. But I'm not talking about that game. I'm talking about the original one, and the original one's a lot of fun. This was definitely an exciting game to have during the Wii U era. You don't. This was mid 2015. We weren't really getting too much, and this was like a new IP. It was like the first new big IP since Pikmin, I guess. Not counting like I guess the Wii IP, Wii Sports and all that, but you know, like actual new characters, new IP, and it definitely did well. I mean, Splatoon's pretty huge now, and I think it's a lot of fun and a great concept, and it was really smart for Nintendo to get in on their own version of a team-based online shooter, but put their own spin on it to really set themselves apart. I think it's great. This one's another really great game. This was also on PS3 and Vita 360, the same game, but Sonic and All-Stars Racing Transformed is really, really good. If you were looking for something that's not Mario Kart, or and you haven't given this a shot, I would highly recommend it. This is fantastic. I was really let down with the Sonic Team Racing or whatever came out last year on the modern consoles, because it didn't have all the other Sega characters. Like, there's all kinds of characters, other Sega characters, and there's also Danica Patrick's in this game for some reason, and Wreck-It Ralph. Really great game though, and really great. It has some of the coolest like tracks. Like, it has these really dynamic tracks based off like Skies of Arcadia and all this, and just Afterburner is another really great track. I remember this is a really, really great racing game. One of my favorite kart racing games. Probably my favorite kart racing game that's not a Mario Kart game. Sonic Lost World. Nintendo really got like the raw deal. They did a 3-game exclusivity deal with Sonic that included this game, Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Winter Games, which I'm not sure why they did that, because they would have got that game exclusive anyway. And then they got Sonic Boom, which was horrible. And this game's not good. It's not bad. It's fine, I guess, but it's not great. Yeah, they really got a bad deal with that exclusivity deal. This is an excellent game, Rayman Legends. You can get this everywhere. This is on Switch and PS4 and Xbox One, PS3, Vita. Like, they released this on every console under the sun. But this is an excellent platformer. This is one of my favorite platformers of all time, and like one of the best ones of recent years. Although this game's getting pretty old now. I guess it came out in 2013. It's awesome. This is an excellent, excellent platformer. It's really creative and just absolute blast. Highly recommended. This game was originally actually supposed to be Wii U exclusive. So it actually might be the best version on the Wii U, just because of it was actually made around the gamepad. Although I've heard that the Switch version and the Vita version are both good because you have the touchscreen and everything, that you can still do everything. But there were some levels built around using the touchscreen. But this game is fantastic. Kind of an interesting game. I know a lot of people don't know of this one. Rodea the Sky Soldier. This game's a little bit wonky, but it's kind of interesting. It was actually originally a Wii game, and this special version of it actually came with a Wii disc and a reversible artwork. So you actually got a Wii disc for this on top of a Wii U copy. So you actually got the same game on two different systems. I recommend playing the Wii version, actually. And this actually did come with a reversible cover, which is really cool. I would recommend playing the Wii version of this and actually going out of your way to try to track down the copy of it when it comes with both of them. Because the Wii U version's, because it was originally made for the Wii. So the Wii U version's just not optimal. This is, from Yuji Naka, probably best known as the creator of Sonic. Very inspirational person from Sega. And, he's now at Square Enix. But this is a pretty interesting game and worth giving a look at. It's not great, but it's worth giving a look at. Kind of one of the few Wii U games that's kind of niche and kind of that's decent or at least interesting that most people might not know about. Scribblenauts Unlimited. Scribblenauts was always a cool series. It's kind of a shame it never really went too far. They did one, like a DC Comics one, too, on the Wii U as well. They're originally on the DS, the first two games, and those games were a lot of fun. And this one was pretty decent, too. Just really cool puzzle games, really creative puzzle games. And it's kind of a shame, yeah, that this series, I know they did like a bundle on the Switch, and they did a party game no one cared about. I remember it got discounted like 3 days after it launched, half off. But yeah, this is a fun series. I would definitely recommend it, especially if you have kids. Feels like it probably has the potential to be more educational than most games if you're looking for something like that. Shovel Knight. I've bought Shovel Knight like several times. I bought it digitally on the Wii U. I bought a physical. I bought it on 3DS. I would like to get the whole package on Switch as well at some point. Shovel Knight is awesome. It's a fantastic 2D platformer, retro-style 2D platformer. It's awesome. Game that isn't awesome, though. Star Fox Guard. This game is atrocious. This game doesn't make any sense of why it exists at all. Because this is basically just Star Fox 64 again, but worse. And Star Fox 64 is basically Star Fox Super Nintendo. So they've essentially just remade the same game again for a second time, but made it worse. Made it have genuinely has probably the worst control scheme I've ever experienced in a video game. It's absolutely horrible. And there are people that are, and I take no pride in talking about this game. I played through the entirety of this game because I wanted to see it through. It's only like 3 hours too, which is terrible for a $60 game. I'm not even usually a person who's who talks like that and who wants a game to be long, but 3 hours and bad 3 hours is not good for a game that launched at $60. You can get this at Five Below now with the Star Fox Guard pack for, but right now, yeah, very bad game. And I hate that this was bad because it was Platinum Games developing this, and I love Platinum Games. So it's such a shame that it turned out so bad because they had to shoehorn the worst control scheme known to man into this game. And other than that, I mean, it wasn't good anyway. If they had a good control scheme on that, it would have just been, this is fine, but it's Star Fox 64 again, but not as good. So this also came with Star Fox Guard, which I never played. It was originally a game called Project Guard that they showed like 3 E3s in a row at for the Wii U, and they eventually just tacked Star Fox on it. And it has Slippy's Uncle Grippy, the orange Slippy frog, which is the best Nintendo character. I want all the Slippy's Uncle Grippy fans in the comments to comment down below, talk about Uncle Grippy. Super Mario 3D World. This game's great. I like the music a lot. This might not have been what everyone wanted. It probably wasn't what I wanted out of a Wii U Mario game. I wanted something more 3D, open-ended, like Odyssey. But what we ended up getting was very, very good. And this has not been ported either to the Switch, so it seems like it probably will, though. But I would definitely recommend it. It's a lot of fun. And I'd say it's a lot of fun in co-op as well. Super Mario Maker. This was also ported and then has a sequel out as well. I like the concept and theory of Super Mario Maker, but I'm just not the type of person who wants to make a level or anything. So while I think the tools are really impressive and the things that people can do are great, a lot of the user-generated games and levels are truly horrible, though. I have to say, great idea, but not exactly for me. I'll keep it a little shorter. My most played game on the system, Smash Brothers on Wii U. Great game. I know a lot of people now are trying to go back. It has some weird physics, but this game was so exciting when it was out. The newcomer characters they added in there. I remember being so excited for Shulk, and Cloud was amazing. Adding in Ryu and Mega Man and Pac-Man. So many great. I mean, it's probably the best lineup of newcomers, I'd have to say. Villager was added and everything. So I know a lot of people try to look back at it now, and I would say Ultimate is obviously the superior game, but Smash Wii U is still a good time. This is one I really like, top 3 Wii U game for sure. And this was recently ported to Switch, and I played through it again on there, and I still really like this game. You can tell there's a lot of effort put into this game. This is Tokyo Mirage Sessions Sharp FE. This is an Atlas developed game that is a crossover in themes between Shin Megami Tensei and Fire Emblem. What it really ends up being more so, though, is plays kind of like a Persona Light, but your personas are Fire Emblem characters in this weird form. And the battle system is one of the greatest in recent memory. It is really a fantastic battle system. And I talk about this more in a video I did about the most underrated games of the 2010s. This game's awesome and does not get enough credit for how good it is. Wii Fit U. Nintendo really thought that they were going to, have another hit on their hands with the Wii, and that it would be selling more games like Wii Fit U. And it clearly didn't, because I got the full package of Wii Fit U at Target on clearance for $12 with the board and everything. A game that I'm really glad is getting ported, The Wonderful 101. This game is awesome. This is character action game where you control a lot of different characters. And it recently went through a Kickstarter. Nintendo originally published it and funded this, but Platinum Games somehow got the rights back and everything. And it's coming to PS4 and Switch and PC. And I am excited to look at it again. Play it again. I did give it to the Kickstarter, and so I am excited to play it again. It looks like on the new consoles it's going to be running better, have a better frame rate. But either way you play it, this is one of the most unique games, and it's really great. Getting towards the end here. Sorry that this video is getting long. I know these collection videos often do, and I have a lot to talk about with the Wii U, because it's really an interesting system for me. It has some really, really high highs and some really insanely low lows. Xenoblade Chronicles X or Xenoblade Chronicles Cross. I'm a huge fan of Xenoblade Chronicles, the original. It's one of the greatest RPGs, I think, of the last, probably of the thousands of this whole century currently. It's so good. The original Xenoblade Chronicles is fantastic. I'm definitely looking forward for that remaster that they're doing. But I don't feel like ever since then, I feel like the series has not been nearly as good. I feel like they started off with a bang and haven't been able to follow it up yet. And that's not saying that either this game or 2 are bad games, but I'd say 2 is better than this. This game's a little bit too weird for its own good. The world is really cool. I remember it really being graphically impressive for the Wii U, but I don't know. I don't think this game is... I would say it's definitely worth a look. If you grab a Wii U, definitely pick this one up as well, because I would recommend it. But I don't think it's nearly as good as the original game. But definitely impressive Wii U game, and I don't think this will ever be ported. You can comment down in the comments below when the game gets announced for a port, and I'm wrong, and you can make fun of me, but I don't care. Yoshi's Woolly World. This is a really great platformer. I had a lot of fun with this one. I like Yoshi's Island. I think that's a good game, even if Mario's a little bit annoying. But Yoshi's like Island DS, not great. Yoshi's New Island on 3DS, pretty bad. This game, luckily, was really, really good, and I feel is definitely closer to Yoshi's Island in quality. It's a shame that they followed it up with Crafted World, which I thought was extremely boring. Wii Party U. This was a pretty good party game, actually. Probably most people ignored it, but it was actually a pretty solid party game. It had some really cool ideas. I remember I picked this up because I was really enamored with Nintendo Land, and I was fascinated to see what kind of stuff they could do with the gamepad. And there's definitely some cool ideas with this one. And it's just kind of a shame overall that they didn't really end up doing anything spectacular or groundbreaking with the gamepad throughout the entire tenure of this system. This is my only Japanese game that I have in my collection. This is a Yakuza 1 and 2 HD. So I think this came out maybe 2014-ish. This was definitely before the series picked up in the West, which happened with Zero. The series really picked up. But this was coming out when Sega was trying to figure out like what to do with this series. It was kind of hitting a lull. Sales weren't amazing by any means. And they thought maybe we could try porting it to different platforms because it's only ever been on PlayStation. So they do this HD version for the Wii U. I think it only ever sold like 7,000 copies in its whole lifespan. It was an absolute bomb, and they just said, no, we're not doing anything with Wii U. But I actually grabbed this. This was definitely a game I was looking for when I was in Japan, and I grabbed this on my trip over there 2 years ago. It's just kind of a weird oddity to have, like that they even bothered putting this on the Wii U. And it's cool. I'm glad that the series finally took off in the West, because it's a really great series. Finally, a cool game. I haven't played the full version of it. I got this for $5 at Best Buy. Zombie U. Cool ideas, cool gamepad usage. Maybe not the most interesting launch title, though. And that's it for my Wii U collection. Once again, I said the Wii U does have a lot of really high highs alongside some really low lows. But overall, I like the library. There's some really interesting games. I know a lot of the best ones are ported on the Switch, but there are still a solid amount of games that I would definitely recommend checking out. Whether you already have a Wii U or you're interested in getting one. Most of the games that were ported are just as good still on the Wii U, and are, probably a third of the cost that Nintendo's charging for the Switch version. So if you don't have, enough money to spend on a Switch right now, it might not be a horrible idea to pick up something like Tropical Freeze or a game like that on the Wii U, instead of paying $60 for it on Switch. But yeah, I'd like to thank you for watching. Make sure to leave down in the comments below your favorite Wii U games. Let me know what you think about the system, and let me know what you'd like me to do if there's any kind of topics you'd like me to cover in discussion videos in the future. Follow me on Twitter at ObjoGaming. Make sure to leave a like if you enjoyed, because that really helps the channel out. Subscribe if you're already subscribed, and I will see you next time.